So hello, Jack. Hi, this is Dave Hamilton. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thanks for having me, David.
It's great to have you. So everyone, we've got Jack Two Fish Fisher with us today of Intuitive Machines, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about the America's Future Series events in April, about himself and his background a little bit and his own company, and then also telling us a little bit about why he's involved in the Space Innovation Summit and why he and his company have come together with others to promote this event and what it means for the Texas economy. So glad to have you with us, Jack. And if you would, give our audience a little bit of a background on yourself and what you're doing there at Intuitive Machines.
You bet. Background on myself. I grew up flying airplanes in the Air Force, then a test pilot for a while, flew all sorts of different types of airplanes, up to and including the F-22. Then I went to the Pentagon for a bit and then came to NASA as an astronaut. So I served 9 years here in Houston as an astronaut, got to fly to the International Space Station in 2017, and then and live aboard the space station for about 5 months. And then I decided to go back to Air Force Space Command and help as much as I could stand up the Space Force. I ended my time there as the vice commander at Schriever Air Force Base before retiring and coming back to Houston. Right now, I'm working at Intuitive Machines as the VP of Strategic Programs, and I am crazy excited about how awesome 2021 is going to be as we start taking some real concrete steps back into the heavens. So it's going to be a good year.
Fantastic. Really exciting. Great to have you with us today. We have this series of events. The America's Future Series is partnering with TechSpace in April, and in particular the Space Innovation Summit. I was wondering if you might share with the audience a little bit about TechSpace, what it's doing, and what the Houston area is doing with regard to expanding the commercialization and the exploration of space.
You bet. So TechSpace is in its germination phase, just starting to take shape. It will evolve into a 501c3 to pool Texas resources in attracting entrepreneurs and primarily space business to Houston and the broader Texas area. Civil, commercial, and military space right now are growing like gangbusters. And what we want to do is try to leverage investments across all three and leverage particularly in regards to space hardware, the shared infrastructure that we have here in Houston. We have so many companies that have unique facilities you would need for developing space hardware, as well as Johnson Space Center, which has obviously a wide array of test and production facilities. In partnership with the Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, BAHEP, they have an agreement, a Space Act agreement with NASA to be able to schedule those unique resources and get people in quickly as a fee for service. So, if I'm a brand new entrepreneur that wants to start a space hardware company, normally I would have to go through the very onerous process of getting my own test facilities. They're really expensive. They take a long time to get. Or I can go to TechSpace, which BAHEP will run, and click a few buttons and sign up, and within a week be at Johnson Space Center using some of their facilities. So it's really, how can we pool the investments, the infrastructure, and the innovation in an area like Houston that has so much to offer? I think that there are a lot of centers of innovation around the country. Obviously, they have specialties. Ours is, I think, going to be aerospace. And with our spaceport here at Ellington Field in Houston, we offer the opportunity to have that unique shared infrastructure in the middle of a huge and awesome town. And we have, really good barbecue and really good Mexican food. So it's the best of all worlds.
And there's no ice usually, right?
What's that?
There's no ice. There's usually no snowmageddons.
Usually no snow. It does get a little bit hot and a little bit humid, but the good comes with the bad.
We have air conditioning. We're good there, right? Thanks for science. So this is really exciting, and the entire year 2021, as you say, is going to be a fantastic year for the space community generally, not only in America but around the world. We seem to be on the cusp of great advancements, et cetera, and really concrete accomplishments of moving things forward. So if you would, it seems to me you might talk a little bit about collaboration and how you're collaborating with others, and how this event on the 6th and the 7th of April, the Space Innovation Summit, how you've helped bring together a number of people from around the country, not just from the Bay Area and from Texas. If you could speak to that a little bit, that'd be great.
You bet. So there's three primary panels that I've been trying to help with. One is focused on national security space and having those individuals and that community leverage the investment, like I said, of civil and commercial. And a great example is the NASA Commercial Lunar Payload Service Program. So we've all seen recently SpaceX go into the space station on their own vehicle. That was part of the Commercial Crew Program. That was its predecessor was the Commercial Cargo Resupply Program. And those really did build a foundation of capability, commercial capability within the United States for us to get to low Earth orbit. Well, the CLPS program, the Lunar Payload Service Program, is allowing us to do the same thing in cislunar space. So that's out there, going to the moon. And what we want to do is try to leverage that investment, as well as a parallel and aligned business case to make money from the resources and the domain awareness in that area across civil, commercial, and national security space. That is the focus of that first panel, primarily having military leaders and some leaders from NASA talk through how we can best leverage that investment. Next off, immediately following that, will be a discussion where we have experts from the wide range of financing options that are available to the space community right now. Space is hot. Space is sexy. In 2020 and 2021, it's just going to get even more so. And so we have a representative from Embedded Ventures. So they are a small startup, deep tech VC fund that really does partner with early stage entrepreneurs to grow them. We have Voyager Holding Company, and they are a much larger organization, kind of like private equity, where they really do hold these companies, but then they provide all the back end services. They help them with the management of their personnel, with congressional engagement, with finances, those type of things, as a back end to let the entrepreneurs do what they do best, which is think wonderfully complex and inspirational thoughts and make them reality. We have Seraphim, largest space VC fund in the world. And we also have C5 Capital that can talk to this growing trend of SPACs and how those can be used to take, later stage companies and make them, allow them to grow at a pace that before we couldn't really even fathom because of higher valuations and investment into the company itself. So we'll talk through within that spectrum, how can entrepreneurs or startup companies or even established space companies grow in this new and dynamic space environment. Finally, we are looking to have an innovation hub discussion. I mentioned how Houston is I think ideally suited to be a space hardware innovation hub, where no kidding, we're building stuff that goes into space. We would try to target, and unfortunately we don't have those confirmed yet, but Catalyst Campus in Colorado. They do a fantastic job. I worked with them a lot while I was at Schriever on the human interaction, the interface, and the software development that is key to space, and especially to the Space Force. Huntsville is a thriving space innovation hub, having a few years ago landed the BE-4, the Amazon's new engine factory there, and obviously lots of ties with the Redstone Arsenal and Marshall Space Flight Center, and then obviously Florida as well. So Texas, Florida, Alabama, Colorado, these are kind of growing and emerging innovation hubs, and we kind of want to highlight why are people coming to those areas, what do they have to offer, and just kind of make sure that there's an understanding of the unique capabilities available to entrepreneurs and to investors.
Well, this sounds all fantastic. Pardon me. This sounds fantastic. And what I'm struck by is that there's something for everyone. That it doesn't matter if you are a small entrepreneur, it doesn't matter if you're a large business, it doesn't matter if you're in the military, if you're a military leader with Space Command, Space Force, this will be of interest to you. If you're in academia and a research facility, if you're part of an economic development effort, there's something for everyone here. And if you're an investor, there are opportunities here as well. And what I'm really impressed with about this, and it's sort of our ethos with the America's Future series, is to be inclusive. And so I think you mentioned Catalyst Campus. They will be part of us for sure on the first day. This is a 2-day event, so they'll be participating, and they should be participating also in part of the work that you're doing on the second day, which is fantastic. So this event is basically almost 16 hours of programming with dozens of speakers and on multiple topics. And it seems that it's there, like we've said here, there's something for everyone. If there was any particular group, who would you recommend? What kind of groups would you recommend tune in and join us for that, especially the second day that you're leading?
For the second day, the one thing that I would really want to nail home, drive home, is the national security space. Folks within the Space Force, the NRO, the NGA, government space. I think the chasm is largest between them and NASA commercial. We have programs like the Small Business Innovative Research Grants, SBIRs, but they are focused on the start of bringing, Johnny, who's got a great idea in his garage, into the fold. There is a gap of companies that have capability, which are much more mature and can have immediate effect, that there is a gap. We've, my company right now at Intuitive Machines, I was just watching a video this morning of Elon Musk's 2021 predictions. If you go about 3 minutes in, prediction number 3 is us getting back to the moon. We are going to the moon at the end of this year with the first commercial lander ever, and the first lander from our country on the moon since 1972, when Gene Cernan took off and left with Erich Schmidt. So it's a big deal. And in doing so, we are going to have capacity on that rocket, and we'll have it again in 2022, that the Space Force or someone else could use at a very discounted rate to get to cislunar orbit. And we are one of 14 vendors in the CLIPS program. So what NASA has effectively done, not just with our company, but with all of these vendors, is built a highway to cislunar space. You just got to get on. And so I think that priority for me is, and in this is to have national security space folks tune in and listen, gain an understanding of what's available for national security space, how they can leverage these investments from civil and commercial, understand the financing structure across the board, how you can grow things quickly and not just depend on government contracts to get capability. There are other ways, as long as it's aligned in some way with a business case, you're going to get money, because space, remember, is sexy.
And profitable.
And profitable. And then, finally, understanding the innovation hubs and how to leverage them most effectively. I think the military is doing great work, primarily through the AFWorks program, DIU, Army Futures Command there in Austin. But let's take a step back and understand what part of the innovation spectrum that they are focused on, and see that there are other innovation hubs around the United States, and they're growing fast, that you can get more capability elsewhere in the spectrum. So that's who I'd like to focus on.
Okay, well, we'll make sure that audience hears this and hears the clarion call to come and join us. I think it's hard for people to get their head around. I know I have trouble with this, understanding that we are actually going back to the moon, and that this is a commercial enterprise, and that commercial enterprises are partnering with our national security apparatus, with our Defense Department, et cetera. And we've come to that age. That age is now happening. And kids like me who grew up, being science fiction fans, et cetera, we envisioned a world where that would happen. And I'm sorry to be corny, but the future is now. It's actually happening. We are living in a space age. And especially for guys like you that have been out there, the rest of us have a hard time imagining it, but at least we can live vicariously through you a little bit. And I know that in our lifetime, there is going to be a fundamental sea change. We are now going to be a spacefaring nation and a spacefaring world.
Yes.
And
well,
it's stunning.
It is stunning. And if you think about what 2021 is going to bring, we're going to have Elon's failing fast, failing forward. And one of these days, that Starship is going to land, and it's going to go around the Earth, and it's going to change the equation of launch again. You have the SLS scheduled to launch this year. You have the James Webb Telescope scheduled to launch this year. You have New Shepard planning for its first flight with passengers this year. Virgin Galactic with passengers this year. We're going to the moon. Intuitive Machines, boom, this year. It just on and on and on.
It's like a floodgate has been opened.
It really is. I guess we were doing something in 2020 while we were making our masks and wearing them. And it's gonna pay dividends in 2021, and it's exciting. It's amazing to see, and I think that it comes from, when I got to the astronaut office, it's 2009, and I helped work with the commercial crew program. A few years later, most folks thought it was crazy talk. A few leaders in NASA really pushed it. Kathy Leaders is one of those leaders. Her last name is Leaders too, but she leads human exploration now for NASA. Phenomenal lady. And that vision and pressing forward with that really did set the stage and a springboard for our exploration. Because what you've done is, of the three main parts of of the space economy, civil, military, commercial, the one that is by far the most powerful is commercial. And if you can set a stage where good old capitalism can work and you can fuel it with innovation, there is absolutely nothing that can stand in its way. And space is so unique in that whether it's Space Force protection of the domain, civil exploration, or good old fashioned making money, if they're aligned and synergized, which is what we're seeing now, get out of the way and grab some popcorn and enjoy the show. And that is what 2021 is about. And gosh, I can't wait for this year.
Absolutely. So, what you're talking about here is, in our minds, absolutely critical. The only way for America to remain the strongest military, political, and economic power in the world is to unleash what you're talking about, which is this partnership between the commercial world, our economy, our entrepreneurial spirit, et cetera, and working better hand in hand with the civil and the defense side of the equation. And that's happening. And also partnering with our allies around the world. So while we may have a bit of America's first view, we don't believe in America alone, right? It's got to be with our partners, et cetera. And it can't be one group doing, carrying the water. Everybody has got to be a partner of this, and we have to unleash the capability that the American economy, that our capitalist economy has, capitalism has for innovation, et cetera. Otherwise, I guess you would agree that the other our near peers are going to continue to advance on us and take our place if we don't unleash that.
Absolutely. You've probably read in the press in the past few weeks that China and Russia have signed an agreement to build a research station on the moon. The next high ground is cislunar space, and we don't want the moon to ever be this power grab. I own this land, you own that land. I'm not suggesting that in any way, but the development of technology to do what they have proposed is beyond what we have right now. So the moon as a stepping stone and as a technology development
platform
step for us is key. It's absolutely key. Not just in this, thought that we're going to militarize space. That's not what it's about. It's about having a deterrence for someone not to try something, a security of the domain and a safety of the domain so that the space economy can grow like it needs to. And that's what the Space Force provides. And the alignment of civil, commercial, and military space goals is going to allow us then to build that economy. There's really, it's not a choice anymore.
We must be present to win, right?
Absolutely.
You got to show up. And
there's somebody else in the ring with us, and they have their sights set on the moon, and it's time to step up to the plate and take a swing. And I am extremely proud to be in a company where we are doing just that at the end of this year.
So let's wrap up a little bit, but one thing I think it's really important for us to share with our viewers here is this event has pretty much all of the people you just mentioned in our discussion joining us. Pretty much all of the top leaders from Space Command, Space Force, various parts of our civil community, as well as investors, some of the leading space corporations, et cetera, are all participating in this. And so this is a meeting of thought, a gathering of thought leaders who are going to have multiple discussions along the lines of what you just outlined. And to my mind, as far as I know, in April, the 4 events that we put together are the largest of their kind. There is no other gathering, virtually or in person, with this many thought leaders, people like yourselves, having substantive discussions about how to really make something happen not just innovation theater. And so I just want to say thank you for being one of the leaders that put this thing together, and for having the vision to do that, taking the time out of your busy schedule, and making sure that the right people are there, having the right kind of conversations in front of the folks who can make a difference. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of the America's Future Series. We appreciate you.
Well, on behalf of the United States of America, thanks to you, David, and Michelle, and the whole Future America Series team, giving a platform and your robust capabilities to get the word out, advertise, and hopefully get the viewership to draw those connections and to make sure that people are armed with the information they need so that we can run fast. 2021 is a year for us to run fast, and the better we arm them with the resources and the connections needed to do so, the more successful we're going to be. So thank you for putting it together.
Absolutely. We will have you back at the end of the year for our next space event. And I'm looking forward to your being able to relay all those things that happened, all those things that we look forward to, for you being able to turn back and say, they happened, we did it, and we're continuing to build on that. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too. Good Lord. I'm crossing my fingers and my toes and everything. And we definitely want to stick the landing. That's on the bottom of our patch. Stick the landing. And you know what's kind of cool? This is the difference between a commercial company trying to do this and somebody else. We partnered with Embry-Riddle. They're going to make this little thing called Eagle Cam. It's got cameras on all sides. We're going to puke this thing out as we're coming in for a landing, and it's going to take the first moon selfie, the first picture of a vehicle landing on another terrestrial body. It's just commercial. You give us a different, we have a different view, and I think that view is more aligned with the general public. And I think what you've seen with SpaceX and how Elon Musk relates to the public is what you're going to start seeing as the commercial space industry grows, because we're going to be able to bring everybody with us. And you know, you mentioned one of the few, there's only about 600 folks who've been in space. Imagine when that number is 6 million, 60 million.
Wow, absolutely.
Think about having an artist be able to describe space, and a scientist make new discoveries. It's limitless. And so it's an exciting time. I can't wait. And I thank you for the opportunity for us to at least get on that road.
Well, thank you, sir. I'll let you go for now. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you in April, on April 6th and April 7th.
Sounds fantastic.
Take care.